What's up, everyone? Welcome back to After the Storm, Canes game review for game number 9 of the season, a 3-2 shootout win against the Washington Capitals. And as you can tell, hopefully you can't hear my dryer in the background. As you can tell, it's like 3 days after the game. That's how long it took me to actually watch this game, because the usual site I use to watch this stuff, because I live in Canada, it's having some issues. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, I didn't watch the game live. I was out, not really for Halloween, but I was out at local Junior A, my team here, supporting them. Watched some live hockey on Monday night, and yeah, that's where I was. Anyways, this is a game that was kind of a slam dunk win for Carolina, and it should have been. This is definitely a game where, it's hard to lose this one considering Washington was missing like half their lineup. No John Carlson, no Tom Wilson, no Nick Backstrom. Makes things a whole lot easier, and Carolina did scrape out a victory in this one. They probably should have won by more, but let's get into it. So I think we're gonna also keep this one a little shorter. But yeah, this is another aspect of that same thing I've talked about this season for Carolina, where they start kind of like they start hot, they get out really good, and then they just kind of fade away as the game goes along. I'm not sure if that's whether they're playing a lot of teams that are adjusting really well to them, or if it's a matter of them just simply letting off. So they come out early, first period, Stefan Noesen gets his first as a Carolina Hurricane, a beautiful redirect off of a Brent Burns point shot. Again, I mentioned in a previous video, that's what Burns was brought in here to do, and he has really begun doing it much, much better. I think the first few games of the season, he was kind of forcing things, drilling pucks into shin pads, and ultimately missing the net on some plays. It seems like he's kind of curbing it right now. This was an excellent, man, I hope you guys can't hear that in the background there. Nevertheless, as now the HRV goes off, I don't even care. Leaving it. He's starting to find it way more, and this is an excellent game to highlight there. So Noesen gets his first. You'd love to see that. Gets his first, a very nice tip on the Brent Burns point shot, and it's 1-0 Carolina. And then the second period comes, and it starts falling apart. Again, this is something where this team, and it's near impossible to play a full 60. It really is in hockey. There's too much parity. So the game does swing. There are quite a bit of momentum swings. But the Canes probably need to start taking the game in 10-minute segments. They lose a few 10-minute segments back to back. So we get into this second period, and to play a shot that Freddie kind of mishandles, and he loses track of where it is. And I think on this play, it's pretty easy to blame Aho on this play for his defensive play, but I think what Aho's intent on this play was to shield off Dylan Strome and allow Freddie to jump on the puck and cover it. But Freddie doesn't know where the heck the puck is. It's just up in the air. He's completely lost track of it. So Aho tries to shield, and Strome just outmuscles him and kind of moves around him, and an easy tap in for Dylan Strome. And by the way, Dylan Strome probably was the best Washington Capital in this game. He was everywhere. It looks like a very good value signing for this Caps team. And he was really, really playing well in this game. So now we've got a 1-1 game. Carolina goes to the penalty kill. And on that penalty kill, the guy who's been doing this for 16 years, Alexander Ovechkin, from his spot where somehow everybody consistently just leaves this guy alone. And I know you can't just stick somebody on Ovechkin and expect it to work because somebody else is going to be open that way. You know what? This is a pass across that's a perfectly placed shot from the best goal scorer in the history of this hockey game, in the history of the sport. And I think we're pretty quick to jump and blame Freddie on this one. I think maybe he doesn't come across super early on it. He didn't cheat, and sometimes that works and sometimes that backfires. This is kind of one of the times it backfired. So he kind of went into butterfly first too, which was really weird on this one, but it's a perfectly placed just inside the post below the blocker shot from Alexander Ovechkin, and it's 2-1 Caps. But before the period ends, again, Martin H. I'm just going to call Martin Necas's nickname should be Magic right now, because everything he touches is turning into a goal or a point or something right now. It's unbelievable. This guy just kind of carrying the puck, nothing really going on. He just turns and fires it. Stastny with the tip off the pad. Kemper kind of loses track, and Svechnikov is there with an empty net, and he buries his 8th of the season already for Andrei Svechnikov, and we're tied up at 2 heading to the third. The team's trade chances in the third period, but ultimately we go to overtime where not a whole lot happened. But just before we leave the third, again, I'm going to highlight Dylan Strome in this one because he was everywhere. Ovechkin, I think, gave him a puck, and then Ovechkin deked in again, and Strome had another chance. And let's back up to Freddie as well before we go to the shootout in this one, because Freddie was excellent too. He started off, and then the second period hit, and he looked really bad. And I think we've been kind of looking at Freddie and realizing he is not looking the exact same as he was last year. It's hard to replicate that. We don't know the extent of his injury, if he's still having any nagging issues from that as well. He hasn't looked great. He hasn't looked like Freddie in these first, handful of games this season. And in this one, he really recovered that. So props to Freddie, because he played very, very good down the stretch in this game. There was one other play that I will highlight, and that's when Freddie was trying to find the puck through all the traffic, and thank God Jacob Slavin blocked this Evgeny Kuznetsov one-timer, because Freddie was nowhere close. So credit to Freddie, because he did recover, make some good saves in this one. We head to the shootout. First shooter up, Brent Burns comes down and just rips one past Darcy Kemper. This dude's shot is unbelievable. We saw it in the Flyers game in overtime, and in this one here, he just blisters this wrist shot past Darcy Kemper, and the Canes are up 1-0 in the shootout. Evgeny Kuznetsov back the other way, barely even takes a stride. Just one of those players who is so good with the puck. He hides everything he does extremely well. Quick move to his backhand, back to his forehand, rips it past Freddie, and we're tied. Svechnikov coming down as the second shooter for the Canes, and he kind of swivels back and forth, figures out what he wants to do, kind of similar to the Kuznetsov goal, just from a little bit further out. Swings wide to the right, comes back below the blocker, above the pad, perfectly placed past Darcy Kemper. Canes back up 2-1. Ovechkin up next, and he makes a good move, but Freddie sticks with him the whole way. Makes a great save on him. Nate is up as the last shooter for Carolina in this one, and he gets stopped as he tries to go 5-hole on Darcy Kemper. And finally, Dylan Strome, the guy who was all over this game, coming down, and Freddie makes a huge save on Dylan Strome, sealing this victory. 3-2, Canes take it in a shootout. There's not really much else to go over. The theme of the season so far has been grind out victories. This was another one, even with a depleted roster for the Washington Capitals. In this one, the Carolina Hurricanes still had to grind this one out, and they did so, and they really stayed in this game. Like, they've managed to find ways to stay in games, and that's huge, because this is a team last year that toward the end of the season and certainly into the playoffs, when they got buried, they were buried. They really felt like they could not get themselves back into it, and that's a big part of this. Is they're managing comebacks, they're keeping their lead, they're keeping games tight, and they know when they get to 3-on-3 or the shootout, they know they can get that extra point. So a solid game all around, and that will take us to Thursday night, which is coincidentally today. And we've got a reverse retro night. I don't believe for the Canes. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it's for Carolina tonight. Is it for Carolina tonight? Let's see. No, I think they're just going to be... I wonder, because the jersey says they're wearing white, but I know that Tampa is wearing the reverse retros. So I wonder if Carolina will also end up wearing the reverse retros tonight, or if they'll just wear black on the road. We'll get our first reverse retro... sighting, I guess I should say, for Carolina. I don't believe they've... Actually, no, they've... No, that's just their alternate. They have not worn those, like, the Canes reverse retros this season yet. So, first reverse retro night of the season against Tampa. Tampa, of course, not off to their usual hot start, but this is still an extremely lethal team to play against, a big test game coming up. Anyways, guys, that will wrap it up for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up down below. Comment about how this game went, in your opinion, for the Canes. What do you like so far in the season? What don't you like? And as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.